The 2025 NFL Draft is finally here. In just a few days, 257 players will be drafted into the NFL. In this video, I'm going to be presenting my official 2025 NFL mock draft. If you enjoyed this video, then please drop a like and subscribe if you're new. Subscribe, it takes just a second and it really helps me out. Thank you, and let's get started. Pick 1, Tennessee Titans. Quarterback Cam Ward, Miami. This is absolutely the most obvious pick in this year's draft. Everybody knows that the Titans are taking Cam Ward. They desperately need a quarterback, as it's proven that Will Levis is not the guy. Ward is the best quarterback in this class, who has all of the physical tools you look for in a quarterback, combined with some great improvisational skills and truly elite pocket presence. Unfortunately, Ward isn't entering the best situation, but he still has a 1,000-yard wide receiver in Calvin Ridley and some young, promising offensive linemen. Now it's time to see if Ward can really be the Titans' next franchise quarterback. Pick 2, Cleveland Browns. Wide receiver / cornerback Travis Hunter, Colorado. Every day it's looking more and more like Travis Hunter is going to be a Cleveland Brown. He is the best overall prospect in this class and also one of the most interesting players we've seen in a long time. Hunter has stated that he wants to play both wide receiver and cornerback in the NFL, even going as far to say that he would rather retire than not play both sides. It makes sense that he wants to do this because he is extremely talented on both sides of the ball. Will he play over 100 snaps in the NFL per game like he did in college? Probably not. I think he'll be an every down corner and only play receiver during passing situations. But overall, Hunter is an incredible prospect, and I think the Browns are getting themselves a franchise player on both sides of the ball for years to come. Pick 3, New York Giants. Quarterback Shedeur Sanders, Colorado. Now look, I know that Sanders' draft stock has been slipping recently, and I know that Abdul Carter is the common pick here, but when push comes to shove, I don't think the Giants are going to pass up on taking Sanders. Not because it's the best pick, but I think Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll make this pick because they're hoping that Sanders is going to save their job. Both of them have been on the hot seat for a while now, and we've already seen that they're willing to take chances in hopes of not getting fired. Signing Russ proves that. But when the Giants go 6-11 with Russ and get the 7th overall pick, and owner John Mara comes in to fire Daboll and Schoen, they're going to point out the then-to-be second-year Shedeur Sanders as a reason as to why they should keep their job. And they do have interest in Shedeur. They scheduled a private workout with him and everything. Plus, I don't think it's the worst spot for Shedeur. He doesn't have to start right away. He can sit and learn from Brian Daboll. Plus, the Giants have a bunch of young, ascending skill position players that Sanders can work with. We all know about Malik Neighbors, but Tyrone Tracy quietly had a 1,000-yard rookie season, and Wan'Dale Robinson has been getting better ever since he's been in the league. Is it the best pick? No, but I think it's going to happen, and who knows? Maybe Shedeur does end up becoming the franchise quarterback the Giants have been searching for this entire decade. Pick 4, New England Patriots. Edge rusher Abdul Carter, Penn State. If the board falls this way, there is no way the Patriots don't take Abdul Carter. He is a top 3 player in this class and is the best defender. They do still need offensive help, but they are not passing on talent like this. Plus, it's not like their edge room is all that great. Their current starters are Harold Landry and Anthony Jennings. Carter would immediately be the #1 edge rusher on the Pats. If they're given the chance to draft a player who could potentially be the next Micah Parsons, they are absolutely going to take it. Pick 5, Jacksonville Jaguars. Defensive tackle Mason Graham, Michigan. Mason Graham has been mocked to the Jaguars for a while now, and it's no wonder why. He's the best D-tackle in this draft, and the Jaguars have a desperate need for a D-tackle. Their current starters are Devon Hamilton, who hasn't had a sack in 2 years, and Eric Armstead, who's 31 and quickly regressing. Graham is a great pass rusher and run defender. He had the 3rd highest pass rush win rate and the highest run stop rate out of all the top D-tackles in this class. He's got a great set of pass rushing moves and an elite first step. His shorter arms are a question mark, but he was still able to dominate in college, and I don't think that will be any different in the NFL. Pick 6, Las Vegas Raiders. Running back Ashton Jeanty, Boise State. When the second best prospect in a draft class falls to the 6th overall pick, you select him. When the second best prospect in a draft class falls to the 6th overall pick and he's at a big position of need, you absolutely select him. The Raiders' 2 running backs right now are 33-year-old Raheem Mostert and Sincere McCormick. That is not a viable running back duo. Enter Ashton Jeanty, who is arguably the best running back prospect since Barry Sanders. He had a historic season in 2024, rushing for 2,600 yards and 30 touchdowns. He's got everything you look for in a running back and more. I know taking a running back early isn't always looked upon the finest, but I think that Jeanty is absolutely worth this pick. Pick 7, New York Jets. Offensive tackle Armand Membou, Missouri. Do I think Armand Membou is the best tackle in this class? No, that title belongs to Will Campbell. However, Membu is the best right tackle in this class, and that's what the Jets need. They're set at left tackle with their 2024 first-round pick Olufashanu, but their current right tackle is Chukwuma Okorafor, who was a backup on the Patriots last year. Membu is great in a zone blocking scheme, and the Jets run zone more than they do gap. He's super athletic, scoring a 9.81 out of 10 on the RAS score, and that shows on the field. He's explosive and has great footwork. Overall, I think Membu is a really good prospect who would fit great with the Jets. Pick 8, Carolina Panthers, wide receiver Tedero McMillan, Arizona. The Panthers do need defensive help, but they also have a needed receiver. They don't have a real number 1 right now, and Ted McMillan can be that. He is a 6'5" monster with a massive catch radius and great route running ability. He has the potential to be a true number 1 receiver in the league, something the Panthers have been looking for ever since they traded away DJ Moore. Plus, this will be huge for Bryce Young's development. He finally has a receiver that he can really trust with a 50-50 ball. I think if McMillan is available here, the Panthers would be very wise to take him. Pick 9, New Orleans Saints, offensive tackle Will Campbell, LSU. Trevor Penning has been a straight-up liability for the Saints for the past 3 seasons, and it's time to bring someone new in. Will Campbell is, in my opinion, the best tackle in this class, and he is going to come in right away and be a great left tackle. This also allows 2024 first-round pick Talise Fuaga to move back to right tackle, his college position. Campbell has the potential to be a true franchise tackle, and if he hits and Fuaga continues to develop, the Saints are going to have a great tackle duo for years to come. Pick 10, Chicago Bears, running back Omarion Hampton, North Carolina. Ben Johnson spent 1 year with DeAndre Swift in Detroit and then ran him out of town and brought in David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, giving the Lions a great rushing attack. Johnson is now reunited with Swift in Chicago, and I don't think this reunion will last long. There is no way Johnson wants Swift as his starting running back, and that is why I think he's going to advocate for Omarion Hampton. After Genty, Hampton is the best running back in this class. He's got the side, speed, and most importantly, vision to play running back in a Ben Johnson system, and he's got the receiving skills too. With Johnson, I think Hampton could be a top running back in the league his rookie season, and it's scary what those two are going to do together in Chicago. Pick 11, San Francisco 49ers, cornerback Will Johnson, Michigan. The 49ers lost a ton of players in free agency, and they have a lot of needs to fill. One of them is cornerback, as they currently have Renardo Green and Trey Brown slated to start. So why not take the best corner available? Johnson is a great cornerback prospect, especially as a zone corner. He's got the athleticism and IQ to cover anyone in zone. He did get injured in 2024, but he'll be ready for the 2025 season. Johnson does need to develop his man coverage skills, but right out of the gate, he'll be a high floor zone corner who can be effective right away. Pick 12, Dallas Cowboys, wide receiver Luther Burden, Missouri. Because, like usual, they didn't do anything in free agency, the Cowboys need a lot of different things. One of those things is a wide receiver, because I don't think they want Jalen Tolbert and Kevontae Turpin being their number 2 and 3. They could really use a good slot receiver to take pressure off CeeDee Lamb, and what do you look at that? The best slot receiving prospect is ripe for the taking, or in this case, ripe for the drafting. Burden is a great prospect who may have had a down year in 2024, but the talent is still very much there. He's got the speed, hands, route running, and yak ability to be a great slot receiver in the NFL. Burden is the best receiver still available and would be a great addition to the Cowboys offense. Pick 13, Miami Dolphins, defensive tackle Walter Nolan, Mississippi. The Dolphins have quite a few holes on their roster, and one of their biggest ones is D-line. Zach Sealer is great, but their other 2 starters right now are Benito Jones, who didn't record a single sack last year, and Matt Dickerson, who couldn't even get on the field last year. They desperately need someone else in that room, and that's where Walter Nolan comes in. Nolan is a great prospect who can both rush the passer and stop the run. He isn't the biggest and doesn't have the best anchor, but with 335-pound Benito Jones next to him taking up double teams, Nolan is going to get a lot of one-on-one opportunities. He projects as a 3-tech defensive tackle, and that's exactly what he's going to be in Miami. Nolan fills a big need on that D-line, and I think he could be a really good player for the Dolphins. Pick 14, Indianapolis Colts, tight end Tyler Warren, Penn State. Similar to some of the top picks in this draft, I think this one has already been decided, as their current starter, Drew Ogletree, had an outstanding 9 receptions for 109 yards in 2024. Warren may not be a Brock Bowers level prospect, but he's still an amazing tight end who can be both a safety blanket or a vertical threat. He's 6'5", 256 pounds, and has a huge catch radius. He pairs that with amazing hands and contested catch ability, giving him the ability to catch pretty much everything. Warren can play wherever the Colts need him to, at tight end, slot receiver, hell, maybe even fullback, but no matter where he is, he's going to be great in the NFL. Pick 15, Atlanta Falcons, edge rusher James Pierce Jr., Tennessee. Everyone knows that the Falcons' pass rush was pitiful last season, so it only makes sense for them to bring in an edge rusher, and outside of Abdul Carter, they have their pick of the litter, and I think that pick is going to be James Pierce Jr. Pierce is an athletic freak who has a ton of potential. He ran a 4.5 40-yard dash at 6'5" with 245 pounds. He was ultra productive in 2024 as he had a 23% pass rush run rate and a 21.7% pressure rate. He's a lighter player, which makes it harder to defend the run, but I think the Falcons are just looking for the best pass rusher available, and that's Pierce. He's got all pro upside, and if the Falcons develop him right, he could be a dominant force in the NFL. Pick 16, Arizona Cardinals, edge rusher Mike Green, Marshall. Pierce may be off the board, but I think the Cardinals would be perfectly content with taking Mike Green, who actually is an overall more complete player than Pierce is. He is a great pass rusher, as he had a 20.2% pass rush run rate and a 16.7% pressure rate. Being a bit heavier and overall stronger, I think Green is a better run defender than Pierce is. However, you can't talk about Green and leave out the off-field issues in the past. Green was actually dismissed from Virginia's football team in 2022 after some SA allegations. However, there haven't been any controversies since then, so hopefully he's learned and gotten better. If he is truly better now, then I see no reason why Green can't be a really good player in the NFL. Pick 17, Cincinnati Bengals, offensive guard Kelvin Banks Jr., Texas. Banks played tackle in college, but he projects to kick inside to guard, and that's exactly what the Bengals need. Their current right tackle is Cody Ford, and while he can't be any worse than Alex Cappa was last season, he's not exactly who you want in there. Banks is a great pass protector who allowed just 1 sack in each of his last 2 seasons, but he's also a good run blocker as well. He moves pretty good for a 320-pound guy, as he ran a 5.16 40 and had a 32-inch vertical. However, his shorter arms is the reason why he will likely kick inside. I still think that he can be a great guard in the NFL though, and the Bengals need someone to protect Joe Burrow. Pick 18, Seattle Seahawks, offensive guard Gray Zabel, North Dakota State. The Seahawks have needed O-line help for years, and they get a prime opportunity to do something about it with Gray Zabel. Just like Banks, Zabel played tackle in college, but projects to kick inside a guard due to his size and arm length. Zabel is a talented pass protector and run blocker. He allowed just 1 sack in 2024. He's better in a zone blocking scheme than a gap, but he can still do both. Zabel would come in and immediately be the best interior lineman Seattle has, and he is the first step to rebuilding that unit. Pick 19, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, linebacker Jihad Campbell, Alabama. The Bucs don't have a ton of major holes on their roster, but linebacker is certainly one of them. Their current linebacking core consists of 35-year-old Levante David and 29-year-old Anthony Walker, who hasn't been good in 2 years. They need to inject some young blood into that room, so why not bring in the best linebacker in this class? Campbell is 6'3", 244 pounds, and ran a 4.52 40-yard dash. That is a great combination of size and speed at the linebacker position. He's a great tackler, and his 32.5-inch arms help with that. He also had the most coverage stops in the NCAA, with 30. Campbell still needs to develop his coverage anticipation, but his athletic traits give him all the potential in the world. He is going to get the opportunity to learn from Levante David, a potential Hall of Famer, and I think he could be the Bucs linebacker of the future. Pick 20, Denver Broncos, wide receiver Emeka Egbuka, Ohio State. The Broncos already have their ex-receiver in Cortland Sutton and their deep threat in Marvin Mims. Bringing in Emeka Egbuka would give them a great slot receiving option and complete their receiving core, giving them 3 different players with different skill sets who can all contribute. But focusing in on Egbuka, outside of Luther Burden, Egbuka is the best slot receiver in this class. He is a great route runner and a good contested catcher, but his agility and change of direction help him to also be great after the catch. He does need to work on his run blocking, but overall, I think Egbuka is going to be a great addition to this Sean Payton offense. Pick 21, Pittsburgh Steelers, quarterback Jackson Dart, Mississippi. Regardless if the Steelers sign Aaron Rodgers or not, I think they draft Jackson Dart here. Is Dart a first-round caliber quarterback? No, but we haven't seen that stop teams before. If they see a chance to draft someone who could potentially be a franchise quarterback, they are going to take it. Plus, if they do sign Rodgers, which I think they will, that gives Dart the opportunity to sit for a year and learn from one of the greatest of all time. We saw how well that worked with Jordan Love. Dart is a super accurate passer with good arm strength and mobility, but he has some of those Will Levis type WTF throws where he'll throw a ball under triple coverage and leave you wondering why the hell he threw that in the first place. But giving him a year to learn is going to be super beneficial for him, and I think the Steelers also think that about Dart. It's not guaranteed to work out, no pick is, but I think the Steelers are willing to take this Dart throw. Pick 22, Los Angeles Chargers, wide receiver Matthew Golden, Texas. Justin Herbert has one of the strongest arms in the league, and it's finally time to get him a deep threat not named Jalen Guyton. Golden is the best pure deep threat in this class. He ran an insane 4.3 40-yard dash and is just as fast on the field. He's also got great agility and change of direction, as well as route running and contested catch ability. He can take the top off a defense at any time, and I think he would work wonders with Justin Herbert in that offense. Pick 23, Green Bay Packers, cornerback Jahdae Barron, Texas. With Jair Alexander's future up in the air, and with them overall not having a great cornerback room, I think it makes perfect sense for the Packers to take a corner here. Barron is a super talented corner who had a breakout season in 2024, allowing just a 54.4% completion percentage and a 34.2 passer rating when targeted. He recorded 5 interceptions and didn't allow a single touchdown. He's got good size, standing at 5'11", 200 pounds, and he ran a 4.39 40-yard dash. He also only missed 9.3% of his tackles and had 11 defensive stops. Barron is a super versatile and well-rounded corner, and I think he has the potential to be really good in the league. The Packers needed an eventual Jair Alexander replacement, and Barron could be just that. Pick 24, Minnesota Vikings, safety Malachi Starks, Georgia. The Vikings filled most of their holes in free agency, but they still have a need at safety, and it just so happens that the best safety in this class is available. Starks is a solid 6'1", 200-pound safety who ran a 4.5 40-yard dash and has 31 2/3 inch arms, which is pretty long for a safety. He pairs that athleticism with really smooth hips, allowing him to move all over the field. He's a great tackler and overall solid run defender, though his smaller size does cause him to get stuck on blocks. However, he's a really good coverage player, especially in man coverage, though his zone isn't bad either. The major thing about Starks, which can be a positive or a negative, is that he lined up all over the field on Georgia's defense. He played 271 snaps as a slot corner, 215 snaps in the box, and 400 snaps as a true deep safety. Let's compare that to a few other safeties in this class. Nick Emenwari played almost exclusively in the box. Andrew Mukuba played almost exclusively as a true deep safety. Xavier Watts played both in the box and as a deep safety, but barely played any slot corner. Malachi Starks did all of it. That is a positive because it means that he has plenty of experience at every place on the field, but it's a negative because it means that he wasn't really able to focus on one aspect of his position. However, this is why he fits so well with Minnesota. Brian Flores has his safeties doing everything in his defense, and Starks is used to doing everything. I think under Flores, Starks could be an amazing player for a long time. Pick 25, Houston Texans, tackle Josh Simmons, Ohio State. The Texans traded away Laramie Tunsil in the offseason, and they desperately need a left tackle. They brought in Cam Robinson, but he was horrible last season, especially down the stretch. Simmons is 6'5", 310 pounds, and super strong. He benched 34 reps of 225 at Ohio State's Pro Day. Simmons is a great pass protector who only allowed 1 sack in his last 2 seasons combined. His footwork and balance are really good. He isn't the best run blocker, but his pass blocking ability is enough to make him worth this pick. Simmons was in the middle of the best season of his career before tearing his ACL early in the 2024 season. However, he's recovered, and I think he can be a really solid tackle for Houston. Pick 26, Los Angeles Rams, tight end Colston Loveland, Michigan. Tight end may not be the biggest need, but if the board falls this way, I think it makes perfect sense for the Rams to take Colston Loveland, who is the best tight end in this class after Tyler Warren. Tyler Higbee is 32 years old, coming off a season where he tore his ACL and MCL, and their backup tight end, Colby Parkinson, didn't even crack 300 yards. Higbee has never been an elite tight end, but he isn't the player he was back in 2019. Loveland is 6'5", 248 pounds, who has solid speed and great hands. He had just a 3.4% drop rate and was third out of all tight ends with at least 50 targets and yards per route run, with 2.67. He did only convert on 2 of his 10 contested catch opportunities, which is a concern. I think that's partly due to his lighter weight, which also doesn't help him in the run blocking department. But overall, I think Loveland is a pretty talented prospect who could learn from Higbee and potentially be the Rams' tight end of the future. Pick 27, Baltimore Ravens, edge rusher Shamar Stewart. The Ravens love to bet on athletic freaks. Nate Wiggins, Trenton Simpson, Patrick Queen, hell, even Lamar Jackson. And with a player like Shamar Stewart available, I think the Ravens are going to pounce on this opportunity. Stewart is a fascinating prospect. He's 6'5", 267 pounds with 34-inch arms, ran a 4.6 40-yard dash, and had a 40-inch vertical jump, and a nearly 11-foot broad jump. He scored a 9.99 out of 10 on the RAS score. there. That is ranked 3rd out of 1,802 defensive ends evaluated by RAS. He is super explosive and strong, giving him a dominant power pass rush moveset. He has some great bull rush and rip moves. He uses that size to be a good run defender. However, that doesn't mean that there aren't major question marks. First off, his tackling is not good. He missed 23.5% of his tackles in 2024, which just won't fly in the NFL. He also doesn't offer much pass rush outside of his power moveset. So if he's going against someone like Jordan Mailata, he is cooked. But the traits and upside with him are just too high, and while there's a chance he's a bust, there's also a chance that he is a superstar in the NFL. Pick 28, Detroit Lions. Offensive guard Tyler Booker, Alabama. The Lions lost Kevin Zeitler in free agency, who was great for them last year, and I don't think they want Coyote Awuzika starting for them. In comes Booker, a 6'4", 325-pound guard who is a great pass protector. He didn't allow a single sack in 2024. He's got good technique and strong hands, and is good at recognizing stunts. He doesn't have the most athleticism, and that does show up, specifically in his foot speed, which is slower, and his balance is off sometimes. But overall, Booker is a really solid guard who can be really good in the NFL. Plus, playing in between Frank Ragnow and Penei Sewell will help. Pick 29, Washington Commanders, edge rusher Mykel Williams, Georgia. The Commanders had an incredible, almost fairy tale-like run last season, but it all ended when they got 55 points hung on them. They still need defensive help, specifically on the D-line. Their current starting edge rushers are Cleveland Ferrell and Dorrance Armstrong. They could use someone else in there. Williams is 6'5", 260 pounds, and one of the best run-defending edge rushers in this class. When you share a division with Saquon Barkley, you need all the help you can get. He still needs to develop more as a pass rusher, but again, the Commanders need to find a way for Saquon to not run for 414 yards and 7 touchdowns in 3 games against them, and Williams can help with that. Pick 30, Buffalo Bills, defensive tackle Derek Harmon, Oregon. The Bills don't have a ton of holes in their roster, but they could use someone to replace 32-year-old Daquan Jones, who is on the decline and hasn't done anything since they signed him back in 2022. Harmon comes in at 6'4", 313 pounds, around a 4.97 40-yard dash. Pretty good for his size. He's a pretty solid run defender, but an even better pass rusher. He had a 17.6% pass rush run rate in 2024. His get-off is quick, and his arm length and fast hands make it really tough to block him. He may experience some more double teams due to the fact that 287-pound Ed Oliver is playing next to him, but I think he can still manage to be a good player for the Bills. Pick 31, Kansas City Chiefs, offensive guard Donovan Jackson, Ohio State. The Chiefs' O-line was not good last season, and that was on full display in the Super Bowl. To add insult to injury, they traded away Joe Thuney and now have a massive hole at left guard. That's where Jackson comes in, who's 6'4", 320 pounds at bench 32 reps of 225. He's got great technique, especially in his footwork, and that helps him be a solid pass protector and run blocker. He isn't the flashiest and doesn't have the highest upside, but he's a good player who can start right away on the Chiefs' O-line. Pick 32, Philadelphia Eagles, edge rusher Donovan Ezeraku, Boston College. The Eagles lost Josh Sweat in free agency, and they don't really have anyone opposite Nolan Smith. But while Ezeraku obviously isn't going to be Josh Sweat, he still comes in as a really good pass rusher. That is his specialty, as his get-off and bend is really good. He is so good at quickly exploding past or around offensive linemen. However, his smaller size, being 245 pounds, does limit his run defense capabilities, and he also doesn't have super high-end speed. But he is still a good prospect, and with some development, can be a really good player in the NFL. But that's it. That is my official 2025 NFL mock draft. Where do you agree? Where do you disagree? Comment below. If you enjoyed this video, then please drop a like and subscribe if you're new, and that's it for me. See ya!